Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Chester Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, but first, before we get into that, if you have not hit the like button already, go in and do so. Right now, we have a good around like six people that have tuned in so far, and only 4 likes right now. If you have not hit the like button yet, please go on and do so. Also, if you have not hit the subscribe button either, we're at 648 trying to get to 700. We are 2 subscribers away from the halfway marker of 650, and we are right now 52 away from the main goal of 700 subscribers. So let's go on and get there. And also share with your friends, your family members, acquaintances, people you don't even like. You can share it to somebody who you met at the grocery store today, or maybe you went to the movie theater today, or you're going tomorrow or something, or you're going this weekend. It doesn't matter. Just share it with somebody so they can go on and get their valuable weather information that everybody needs. And so with that out of the way, let's go on and talk about what are we going to talk about tonight. Well, first off, as you all know, what we always talk about first is what's currently going on. We will also talk about the weather as we go into tonight, and then just for our future as well. It could be for tomorrow, short-term future, long-term future. We will also talk about our weather for the week. This is the main forecast for tonight about the week of January the 4th, going into January the 10th. And so all of that's going to be talked about. We're going to talk about the patterns, temperatures, averages, all of that will be covered tonight. So let's go on and start off first with the basic stuff, that being obviously what is currently going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina. Well, right now, currently as we speak, there is nothing. You know, nobody's too shocked by that. We weren't expecting any sort of precipitation as we go into tonight, and so that's just what's going on right now in terms of current conditions. But for the entire United States, that cannot be said. Look at how dry it is all the way throughout the south central, the southeast, look throughout the central U.S. But look up here inside of the Midwest, the upper Midwest, to be more regionalistic. I mean, you have snowfall over there inside of the UP of Michigan, inside of Michigan, some sleet going on in Wisconsin, going on in Michigan, and then maybe even some sleet more down here on the bottom side. It might not be hitting the ground because the way how these MRMS radars work, some of the stuff that you see on here might not even be hitting the ground at all, but the areas in the more light greenish, dark, yellowish, oranges, that's usually what you see on the ground. The gray stuff may not be. But if we go over here towards the west, you can see, look at all this snowfall and this rainfall we have from Montana down to Idaho, to Utah, to Nevada, to California, to Oregon, as well as Washington. All of this rainfall that we have going on over there. Now, what about our cloud cover? Well, cloud cover right now is actually showing some mostly cloudy conditions, it seems, throughout the upstate, throughout the Midlands, throughout the PD and the Grand Strand areas, and even throughout that western part of the low country. Cloud cover is going on over there. And then as we go into our future cloud cover, we go in and go into the 0Z. And we're going to push this forward all the way up to 9 o'clock p.m. Look at this. We do, in fact, have some cloud cover moving through the upstate, moving throughout the PD, moving throughout the Grand Strand areas as well. Low country getting on some cloud cover, and that will continue as we go all the way throughout the night. This is 2 o'clock in the morning here, cloud cover covering almost the entire state. And look at this, some fog as well. You see how that cloud cover, you see how it leaves the upstate, but there's still some cloud cover, it almost seems like right behind it. That's fog activity right there. And so we have some fog that's going to develop inside the upstate. It's going to develop inside of the Midlands and the low country. And so all of this cloud cover that you see right here, that's not cloud cover, that's fog activity. We're going to see a good amount of fog as well, but it will all clear up. But then there will actually be some more cloud cover trying to push its way through. This is around 5 o'clock p.m. here. Cloud cover now over there inside of the eastern parts of the state, the westerns, and pretty much almost all over the state. But look at that center part. That's the clearest part as you go into tomorrow evening. We go into 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. Tuesday comes along, and we're all covered with clouds. We go all the way through Tuesday morning, into Tuesday afternoon, into Tuesday evening, and Tuesday night, and cloud cover still looks prominent. So now with all of that out of the way, let's go on and talk about what's going on in terms of our current temperatures. Well, right now, 44 in Somerville, as well as 48 in Charleston. We also do have around a good 47 in Beaufort, 51 in Hilton Head Island. And if we move over here inside the PD and the Grand Strand areas, you have around 46 in Georgetown, 48 Murray's Inlet, 49 in Myrtle Beach, and 44 in Conway, 45 in Florence, and 44 inside of Hartsville, 45 also in Sumter and Lugoff, 44 in Lancaster, and 43 in Bennettsville. In the Midlands, 47 in Columbia and Orangeburg, 48 over there in Aiken and Newbury and Greenwood. And then in the upstate, you have around a good 47 in Lawrence, 48 in Greenwood, as well as 47 in Anderson, 46 in Greenville and Spartanburg, 45 in Gaffney, and 47 in Clemson. And so, for the most part, it looks like all of us are inside of the 40s for right now. Now, what about our low temperatures for tonight? Low temperatures for tonight, you have around a good 41 in Greenville, 41 in Spartanburg, and even around a good 42 in Anderson, 40 Greenwood, and 39 in Newbury, in Winsboro, and Rock Hill, 36 in Camden, 37 in Sumter, and 38 in Columbia, 40 Orangeburg, 41 in Aiken, 39 in Barnwell, 40 in Walterboro, and 40 in Moncks Corner, 47 in Charleston, and 49 in Hilton Head Island, 36 in Kingstree, and 36 in Florence, 34 in Sherrod, and 33 in Dillon, 42 in Myrtle Beach, and 38 in Georgetown. High temperatures for tomorrow, 60 in Greenville and Spartanburg and Rock Hill, as well as 61 in Anderson, 61 in Lawrence, and 62 in Greenwood and Newbury, 64 in Columbia, and 63 in Camden, 65 in Sumter, and 66 in Orangeburg, Barnwell, 68 in Walterboro, 67 in Moncks Corner, 66 in Charleston and Hilton Head Island, 64 in Georgetown, and 63 in Florence, 62 over there inside of Dillon and Sherrod, and 61 over there near Myrtle Beach. Rainfall for tonight, not expected as we go throughout tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night. Rainfall, not expected, and pretty much is not expected as we go throughout the next 3 days or so. So we're not going to see rainfall for a good little bit as we continue throughout this 3-day time span. But we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about all that, especially as we go into the week forecast. Now, what about the crazy score? Crazy score for tonight, we're at a 26. You might be asking, well, we don't have any rainfall. Why are we all the way up to a 26? And 26, that's inside the mild category. So the reason why is mainly because of widespread fog, especially throughout that Midland area, the Western Midlands, even, inside the Low Country, we saw some in the upstate as well. And so this will definitely count as noticeable. Obviously, not only will there be some widespread fog, but there will also be some locally dense fog. And so that will make it, down to a quarter of a mile or less in some spots. And so you have to make sure, if you're going to be out driving tonight or tomorrow morning, you watch out for that fog. Make sure you have your low beams on, or if you have a new car, you probably have fog lights. Go ahead and turn them on. And make sure you leave enough following distance behind you and the car in front of you, or from you and the car in front of you as well. There are also going to be some calm light winds for the most part. There's not going to be any sort of frost or freeze concerns, with these temperatures being in the mid-30s to low 40s. And then for the most part, that's about all that I really see here in terms of the crazy score. Now, what about the SPC outlook? Well, we're going to look at that right now. We start off here, and for the most part, no thunderstorms are expected as we go throughout tonight. As we go throughout tomorrow, thunderstorms not expected, and same thing with Tuesday, thunderstorms are not expected at this time. Excessive rainfall, same thing, not expected. So let's go in and look at the models now. Let me go and get that pulled up right nice and quickly. I hope my computer's not trying to drop some frames. I see it kind of hovering around. I hope that's not messing with the stream any, so I'm going to go in and check that out. But first, I'm over here on the models, right here. Starting off here at 9 o'clock p.m., you go in and push this forward, and you can see for sure we are not seeing any sort of precipitation as we go throughout the next 48 hours or so. Even if we go all the way to 7 p.m. on January the 6th, no precipitation. And in terms of the long-term future as well, we go in and push this forward. And as you continue to push this forward all the way through 1 p.m. here on January the 7th, through January the 8th, the 9th, you're not seeing that main rainfall event start to push its way through until you get into January the 9th, going into January the 10th. What's on January the 9th and January the 10th? We have a cold front moving its way through. And so you see right here on January the 10th, you see all this rainfall right here. And so Usually, when you have that warm air and you have that cold air and they mix together with each other, we were just talking about this a couple of days ago, that could potentially spark some severe weather. And so I'm looking at this here on the 10th, and if we go on and look at the dew points for the most part are there. I do see some pockets where it's not as prominent, but the moisture for the most part is trying to get its way there. Even if we go on and look at the upper level winds as well, 850 millibars, you can see winds are up there cranking inside the atmosphere. But the thing that we were lacking the other day, we didn't have the cape, and it still looks like that cape is not really too there. Not really too there. I mean, you see some in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, right here on January the 10th. But look at how it gets into South Carolina. It dies down, and I'm not really seeing too much of anything here. So, right now, I'm just gonna say right now that if you was to ask me, is there any severe weather that's gonna happen from this area right here? Right now, it's looking like a no. And even if you look at the convection in general with the rainfall, look at how light it could potentially be. And so that's also a limiting factor potentially. And especially if there's cloud cover in front of the system, that will also get rid of it. But we continue this forward all the way through January the 11th through January the 12th. We have a huge amount of cold air trying to move its way through between like the 11th and the 12th. And we have a high pressure that takes over. Some more rainfall potentially coming through on the 15th and the 16th. Another little cold blast trying to move its way through just a couple of days later. And there's another one again potentially right after that. Just a couple of days later, bringing in even more cooler air. And I think we were talking about that the other day, or if not even yesterday, where we had this cold front bringing some cold air, but then another like little cooler air mass came in and it pushed even more cooler temperatures in. So we'll look at all that actually right about now. So if we go on and look at the dew points, and we'll get to the week forecast. We're going to talk about that after this. But if we get into the dew points, we go on and push this forward. There goes the first little cold front, the first little cold blast right here. It's going to around January the 7th-ish. We go back over here. And then it moves its way through on around like the 10th-ish or so. There may be some drier air maybe trying to move its way through. If I go on and go back towards the 7th here, we go back into the temperature anomalies. It looks like more just like some drier air maybe trying to get in, but for the most part, we stay warm as we go into January the 7th here. But going back, we continue our way through. There goes our first cold front right here on January the 10th. That pushed its way through. This is not temperatures, by the way. This is dew points. We go on and push this forward all the way through the 12th, the 13th, the 14th. You thought we were done? Absolutely not. Another cold front moving its way through right here on the 15th. And if we go on and zoom this out so you can see a little bit better, look at all of that cold air that tries to moves its way through. It doesn't try to, it does move its way through. And so it looks like for the most part, once we get to the mid part of January, that looks like that's when we're going to have our most significant cold air so far of the year. Will be right there. And that will also bring some freezing temperatures. We go into the shaded region. Look at how we have all of this cooler air, all of this freezing temperatures move through right here on the 13th. You have freezing temperatures moving in on the 16th. We have temperatures down into the low 20s potentially up there inside the upstate. And then even right here on the 18th, we have some more freezing temperatures trying to move its way through throughout the upstate and the Midlands, but not quite making it to that low country area. But 300 plus hours out, things can change. So let's go on and talk about the week forecast. So let's go on and show the actual anomalies first and the averages. We're going to start off here with the week. And for the week, it looks like that we are going to be above average in terms of temperatures this week. We will be above average in terms of temperatures this week. And so it looks like that this will not be good for the drought. This will not be good for the drought, as we currently do have a drought, and it actually did grow. You see it going on throughout the upstate. You see it going on throughout the western Midlands and the western low country. Not the best sign that you want to see. You go even into your precipitation as well, below average precipitation. So you have above average temperatures, below average precipitation. That's the sign of a potential drought spreader throughout the state. Not good. That's not what we want to see. If we go on back into the GFS though, and we go into the temperature anomalies, and we see these temperatures, we start off all the way into the 4th, going into the 5th, and just look at how above average those temperatures get. We get into the 6th, going to the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th. Even if you move on over into, which actually that cold front moves through right after, so that cold front moving in right as you get into the beginning of next week. But even if you go into the shaded temperatures, we look at see what the actual temperatures are. I mean, you have mid to high 60s on the 6th. I mean, you have 70s on the 7th. And you just continue to see those temperatures all the way through the 9th. And then that cold front, like I said, moves through on January the 10th. That lowers our temperatures there, but it's not enough to really guide its way and to really bring down those temperatures for the week. Well, did it do something? Probably. It may have brought the actual average temperature down a little bit, but it's still going to be above average either way. And another thing I do want to show, obviously, is obviously the 7-day forecast in terms for our rainfall, and see how much rainfall we will get as we go throughout the next 7 days or so. And I'm actually not really going to lie too much. It's really just carrying off of that end of the week rainfall that we're going to get. So if we go in and look at this right here, this is right here, the 7-day precipitation forecast ends Sunday, January the 11th at 7 p.m. Look at how much rainfall you have up there inside the upstate. You know, maybe around like a good 8/10 of an inch, maybe close to around an inch. And then some people, you know, may even see more than an inch to an inch and a half. You know, 3/10 of an inch over here inside the Midlands, 2/10 of an inch, and 1/10 of an inch all the way throughout, you know, like the Myrtle Beach area. But there's still a lot of areas that are inside a drought right now that are not going to receive much rainfall. But I will say that upstate rate could potentially go down more as you continue to go throughout the week. And we'll see how it looks, like I said, next Thursday. And, you know, what we'll see there. But for right now, it just looks like that we are going to mainly see that drought up there inside the upstate go down more than the one in the low country right now. And so that's pretty much all I had to say there in terms of the precipitation here. And then I also do want to go on and look at the patterns as well, because that's also something else that I want to go on and show. We go on and look at the entire U.S. right here. We start off here at around 7 p.m. on January the 4th. You have that high pressure over here in the east. You have pretty much just this huge, honestly, almost a ridge at this point over here inside like the middle part of the states. Now you have obviously active activity going on over here inside the west, and then you have some activity going on over here obviously inside the Midwest, but mainly that activity over there inside the west is what we're looking at. You push this forward and you start to see what people call a bowling ball trough try to get its way through on the 6th. And you have a low pressure taking over, you have a high pressure over here, and you have a zonal flow output right here, to where you're seeing, you know, that cooler weather going on in the north. You have that nicer, more warmer weather going on down here inside of the south. And so if you push this forward even more, you see that trough starting to move its way over inside the east. You have the low pressure over here, and you're starting to see some nicer weather over here inside of the east where we are. And then there goes that cold front. That cold front now is moving its way through, and that's what's going to bring us our rainfall and our cooler temperatures. And you can watch as it moves its way throughout the state. You have and then you can see as it moves its way up, that low pressure decreases. You have the more cooler, more active conditions going on over here inside of the north. You have that severe weather potentially going on in this area. You have the cold air behind it. You have the warm air in front of it. And then that's what causes, that's pretty much just a textbook system right there. A low pressure system as it moves its way throughout the entire U.S. It goes all the way from west to east. And you want even proof about it, You can see exactly what I'm talking about right here. In terms of, you have the cold air back here behind it, you have the snowfall in the low pressure, you have the severe weather going on the line, but it probably won't be for South Carolina, because once it gets to us, I think that it's going to be too weak, and then it moves its way off, and then look at this, we're back to being nice. So that was just pretty much as a pattern breakdown. I wanted to go on and show that real quick, just to show you and explain how this stuff is happening. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, and let me go in and zoom in real quick. Mr. Chris is here first tonight. He says, good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. Fantastic day, actually. I think some of y'all probably know why. Maya Lewis says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. I pray that everyone had a wonderful day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. And then also, Mr. Chris comes back and says, current temperature here in Moncks Corner is about 43 degrees. Only got to around 54 degrees here. And it's kind of weird because my older one said 60, but my newer one said 57. I trust the newer one more. Said 57, so I'm going to stick with that one. So around a good 3 degrees warmer. And right now, 41 on my older one. Newer one says 42. So around, a couple of degrees lower. Then, my Aunt Lewis says today in Georgetown it was chilly, but sunny. I definitely did enjoy it. Well, thank you so much for that weather report to where you are in Georgetown. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Mr. Gray says, feeling better today after some decent rest. That's good for you. Glad to hear that. My cousin Cheryl then comes in and says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Weatherman. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Most of us will be back at work, so be blessed on purpose. Love you, Weatherman. What do you think? Well, first off, good evening to you. And just like the same thing with y'all, I'll be back to school as well. And then for the most part, that's about all. That says, good evening, Justin. What a beautiful day today in San Antonio. I managed to get all of my Christmas decorations down and put away. Well, I was actually thinking about that because I saw when you put it inside the chat, and I was thinking about it. I was like, well, I was making fun of him earlier because I was saying he put his decorations up too early. But the craziest part is, we don't even have our Christmas decorations down yet either. Like the ones outside, they're down. The ones outside are down. But the ones inside are still up. So I guess I really don't have that much of room to talk, especially from earlier. He also says, keep pounding. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was so happy. That was the main reason why I was happy for. Panthers made it into the playoffs, and, no offense to, Mr. Chris or anything like that, but I was actually very shocked that the Panthers made the playoffs, but the Chiefs didn't. Just very, very shocking, but things are changing. Things are happening. Let's go and give them a round of applause real quick. Let's go in and give them a round of applause for their wonderful feat. Yeah, I just had to go and give them that round of applause because, they definitely do deserve it. First time they've won their championship in about 10 years. So I'll give them that. I will go in and give them that. Definitely, we deserve that as fans after having to go through like 5-6 losing seasons in a row. It's about time that we go on and get a winning record. Well, actually, it wasn't winning, but a winning season for once. Mr. Chris also says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also, share. It's free and it helps the channel grow. Absolutely. Let's see how many we have right now. We have a good 21 people have tuned in, and we only have 7 likes. If you are part of the 14 people that have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. 14 people have not hit the like button yet. Go ahead and do so. My nana says, hello, Jay. Did not feel my best, so I did not check out the weather today. Well, for the most part, you didn't really miss much. I'm not gonna lie, you didn't really miss much today. I'm continuing my way down. Mr. Chris come back and says, everyone, please remember to stay safe, warm, and hydrated. Absolutely. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Gorgeous day here. I clean leaves off the back patio and clean the front porch. Sunshine all day. Well, that's great to hear from you, to where you are. I'm glad that it was productive. And then Mr. Chris says, finally, I took all my Christmas stuff down and put away. My Chiefs lost today as well. I did see that. Did see that. And so, in those games right there, divisional games, I say anything can happen in those games. The worst team in the NFL. But like I said, divisional games, anything can happen. But that's all that I see here in terms of the chat. So let's go on now and talk about the full locations outside of South Carolina. We'll come back to the chat. We'll come back to it. We will come back to it. But I want to talk about these areas first because at least a good amount of them, I believe, are here tonight. San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and talk about their weather because even though their areas is not talked about the most, they still show their support. And so we like to see that. So we're going to start off first with the one and only San Antonio with low temperatures tonight at 53, high temperatures tomorrow at 75, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 61. Patchy fog definitely will occur tonight and tomorrow morning. Again, patchy fog will definitely occur tonight and tomorrow morning. And in terms of any sort of severe weather, you're good. Excessive rainfall, you're good. So you're good there. Now, I do also want to go in and check and see what's going on in terms of your future. Because it looks like for the most part, you're going to continue to warm up Tuesday, high of 83, 82 on Wednesday. And then it will cool back down. It will cool back down, Thursday 78, Saturday 66, Sunday 63, and that's next week Sunday. So it will cool back down, but for right now, you're going to be warm. So definitely enjoy it while it lasts. Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around a good 31. High temperatures tomorrow at 56, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 41. Precipitation not expected at this time. In terms of, you do have some areas of fog tomorrow night, so make sure you watch out for that. Severe weather, excessive rainfall, anything like that, not expected either. And then in terms for stuff for your future as well, seems like you will actually be warming up Wednesday 70, 66 though on Saturday though. And then it will drop back down, though, Sunday of next week, 51. So it will drop back down, but you're going to be a bit on a warm-up as well. Then for Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 24. High temperatures tomorrow at 38, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 30. Precipitation, not expected at this time. In terms of severe weather, excessive rainfall, not in the forecast for you. And then for your future, it looks like you do have a chance of rain Tuesday night, 30% chance on that day. And then rain will be likely on Friday. It looks like you have a 60% chance on that day. So it looks like rainfall will definitely be trying to happen on Friday. And in terms of temperatures, you will be warming up. So you'll be out of these high temperatures for 30. As early as Tuesday, with highs of up to around 47, and then Wednesday, 53. And then Duncan, Oklahoma being the final location with low temperatures tonight at 45, high temperatures tomorrow at 76, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 43. Precipitation not expected, severe weather, excessive rainfall not expected. But you guys actually will be cooling down. You guys will be on the opposite trend of everybody else, and will actually be cooling down. 76 on Monday, 72 on Tuesday, 68 on Thursday, 58 on Saturday, 55 on Sunday for your high temperatures, and so you will be cooling back down again. In terms of, any sort of rainfall for like the kind of like mid to long term future, Wednesday night, Thursday looks like there. You could potentially have some rainfall there as well. And so that's it for these 4 areas. What's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Well, Pacific moisture will continue to bring locally heavy coastal/lower elevation rainfall and heavy mountain snow to the west coast and the portion of the Intermountain West through Monday. A wintry mix will create hazardous travel across the northern plains and the upper Midwest into early Monday. Dry, gusty winds are resulting in elevated to critical fire weather conditions in the south to central high plains. That's all stuff that we're looking at there. And then also, I don't think that it discussed it at all, but I think wintry mix will also, oh no, yes it did. Never mind, I take that back. That, and then also, we have some cold weather That will go all the way up here inside of Maine, inside of New Hampshire as well. I mean, you'll see temperatures -10 to -20 degrees, and wind chills will be down to -20 and -30 inside of New Hampshire and Maine. So it's going to be very, very cold up there, very cold up there. And then some fog will also potentially be going on for a good amount, obviously where we are, but also inside of North Dakota and Montana. But that's all that I can see here in terms of the entire U.S. Nothing else inside the chat right now. So we're going to go on and look at the top fans of the night tonight. Mr. Chris remains still at that #1 spot. And then as well, I believe, let me see, we have around a good 5. And I see 1, 2, 3. So Maya Lou was at #2. And then Thad was at #3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a top fan, you can. You just have to be here early. Obviously, you have to be a subscriber to the channel. You have to be active inside the chat. So not just 1 or 2 messages. The more that you type, obviously, the more up the leaderboard you will go. And I think that that's about all that I have to say for tonight. So it was a good 31-minute forecast tonight. So we're going to go on and wrap this up so you guys can go on and get back to whatever y'all were doing. And make sure, if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, go on and do so. We're at 648, trying to get to 700. We are 52 away from that main goal of 700. 2 away. That's it, just 2 from that halfway marker of 650. Also, hit the like button. Right now, we have a good 23 people and only 8 likes so far. So if you are a part of that good 15 people that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. Also share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people you don't even talk to like that, people who you don't like, but you can give them one last favor before you can block them and never talk to them again. Just do something so that you can go on and help share and help the channel grow. And also go on and get us to that main goal of 700. And give somebody free weather, because it's free. No ads roll here. It's all free. Nothing happens. I don't make any money off of this. So, that's all, though. So, everyone have a fantastic rest of your Sunday evening. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with your Monday morning forecast update. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave.